wonderful people. So today I want to share with you what I did during my second pregnancy to make sure that I did not gain any extra weight. So first of all, I just want to say I am not a certified professional to give you specific advice in your current situation. So make sure that whatever information you're gathering from the internet, including from this video, that you do your thorough research and you bring it to a professional to help you with your goals. So let's get into the video. So when I first found out that I was pregnant with my second child, there was a couple of things that I wanted to do this time around that I didn't do in my first pregnancy. And that was to make sure that I did not gain extra weight. With my firstborn, I actually got pregnant during 2020, and we all know what happened during 2020, and it was just chaotic. I stopped working and I started to look for a new hobby, and I was basically just inside at my home alone. So I started to bake, and that was one of my biggest obsessions. I did gain a lot of weight during that time. And you know, I did not feel good during pregnancy because of it, and I did not feel good afterwards. So I wanted to make sure that I was active during this pregnancy, like super active. I was already active because obviously I have a toddler. That I will be more intentional with my movements, that I will be out every day, that I will walk a certain amount of time, that I will, you know, do activities with my child outside and just be extremely active. So that's one of the things that I would say. Being active is super, super important, especially if you're going to labor naturally. It is just crucial, you know, for, you know, the positions that you may want to be in to help you during labor and all of that. I did labor here at home. That was my second goal, to labor here at home. And I was able to do that with just the Lord, my husband and I here in my home. Actually, I delivered my child right there. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I know that if I wasn't active during my pregnancy, that would have been extremely, extremely hard. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about the birth story, I'll have it linked below so that you go and watch that. I posted it, I think, 2 weeks ago. So with my eating habits prior to me being pregnant, I was following somewhere in between keto and carnivore way of eating. So a very heavy meat based way of eating with lots of animal fats. And you know, I took out all processed oils. I took out, you know, all grains, legumes, nuts. I wasn't consuming any nuts. I'll basically eat, like, if I wasn't having meat or eggs, anything that came from an animal, a little bit of herbs to season my meats, or I will put a little bit of tomato with my eggs, some onion, and low glycemic fruit like frozen blueberries. That was kind of like my thing. Most of my carbs really came from dairy. And yeah, I was enjoying the way that I was eating because I do have a lot of gut issues. So I am healing in this way of eating, and yeah, it's like an elimination diet. I basically cut down a lot of my protein consumption, and I started to incorporate some carbs in my first trimester because I could not tolerate the smell of meat. I could not see meat. I just despised it. It was a heavy meat aversion. And though it did cause me a lot of bloating, migraines, I was just feeling extremely tired. I was not feeling good in my first trimester whatsoever. My second trimester was completely different. I was able to follow more of an animal-based way of eating, similar to paleo. I was having some fruit, I was having some nuts here and there. I was having those siete wraps often, and I would just load them up with lots of, you know, protein, some eggs, some beef or ground meat. They were delicious, super delicious. Now I don't do that anymore. I am back to eating the way that I was eating prior to me becoming pregnant. Though I am 3 months postpartum, I was able to get back on track in my second trimester. So I think that it kind of made up for what I did during my first trimester. So yeah, I was able to raise up my protein consumption to about 120 grams to 140 grams of protein per day. And then in my third trimester, I was still doing very heavy protein, and I was still doing some carbs, but it wasn't nowhere near as high as I was doing in my first trimester. In my first trimester, I was probably consuming about 17 grams of protein a day. I did start to supplement with some whey protein to make sure that I was consuming a good amount of protein per day, even though it was nowhere near the amount that I was consuming prior to me becoming pregnant. So all of that to say that even though I started to incorporate some carbs in my diet, I was very cautious with it. I still wanted to go for the animal protein. I still wanted to have eggs. I still wanted to have beef, chicken, some pork. I stayed away from processed oils. I stayed away from extremely high glycemic fruit. I stayed away from flours. So I want to summarize all of this by saying that it is super important to eat a heavy, high animal protein, fat diet, and having maybe some fruits here and there, having some carbs here and there might not be so bad during your pregnancy if that's what your body wants. But staying away from the overly processed oils, flour, and all of those things is super important. Now, that's what worked for me. Now, it might be different for you. I was able to weigh myself 2 weeks after me giving birth, and I weighed the same exact thing that I weighed before I got pregnant. So that was super awesome to be able to see. And, you know, I did feel extremely big during this pregnancy, and I hope that in my next pregnancy, I'm not as big as I was with this pregnancy, because I still have some weight to lose. But I'm happy overall. It was a healthy pregnancy, healthy mama, healthy baby, an amazing labor, delivery, and right now I am just following the same way that I was eating before me becoming pregnant. So I'm feeling really good, and I have already lost 14 pounds. And I'm happy. I'm happy about that. And I also see my body changing, body composition. The whole idea is not just losing weight, because losing weight can mean so many things. It can mean you losing muscle, and you want muscle. So I want to lose fat. I don't want to lose muscle. I want to gain more muscle. So yeah, I hope that this video was helpful to you, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. God bless. Bye.